everybody, Ashton here again with Gents with another fragrance review. Obviously you can see what we're reviewing today. It's Pineapple Vintage Noir by Parfums Vintage. So this has been reviewed by everybody, and I guess I'm jumping on the train and I'm going to give my take on it. The company did reach out to me. They asked if I wanted a sample. I was expecting that they would send me the little decants, but they sent me a full bottle. But I'm going to let you guys know exactly what I think about it. I'm not going to pull any punches, and I'm not going to hype it up if I think it doesn't deserve to be hyped up. So we'll go ahead and check out the presentation on this and then jump into the fragrance itself, just like usual. Alright, let's go ahead and check out the presentation here for Pineapple Vintage Noir. So as you can see, the pineapple is the focal point of the fragrance. It looks like almost a pineapple crest here on the front. It says Pineapple Vintage Noir. You have the size at the bottom, concentration at the top, eau de parfum. And these pineapples, as you can see here, are imprinted into the box to give it kind of a texture. At the top, you can see the company crest, PV. On this side, you have ingredients. And on this side, you have storage information and a caution note that it's flammable. On the back, you have a doctored up painting. It looks like some fellows at an opera house. You can see he is spraying Pineapple Vintage, and the ladies are swooning. They love the Pineapple Vintage. And then on the bottom, just ingredient information. So the bottle is fairly simplistic, but it's nice looking. This is a sticker across the front that says Pineapple Vintage, again with the pineapple. The glass is very thick, it's heavy. You can pick it up by the cap because it snaps into place. The cap is wood, and then on the inside, it is plastic. It's very light. The atomizer is decent, but it sprays out in an immediate cloud. Just a big cloud. So you have to get it fairly close when you spray that to make sure that you get amply covered in juice. Because if you kind of hold it out, you're just going to send a big puff of mist everywhere. On the bottom, you can see this black sticker indicating that this is Noir instead of just the regular Pineapple Vintage. If it's the regular Pineapple Vintage, it will be white. That's how you can tell the two apart. So that is the presentation of Pineapple Vintage. It's nice looking, it's fairly basic, but it gets the job done. I go anosmic to this one really quickly, which means I can't smell it anymore. I'm talking within 10 to 15 minutes. I just can't pick it up. I can put my nose right next to where I sprayed it and barely catch a whiff of it. I will occasionally pick up wafts throughout the day. It's just I get olfactive fatigue like that from it. Now it's still there and it's still projecting even 5 to 6 feet at its high point. When I was in the office, when I was out and about with people and just checking with my wife, everybody could still smell me. I just couldn't pick it up myself. For the first couple hours is when this is really projecting at its most. Then it starts to sit in a little bit closer. Longevity on this is really good. I'm talking 8 to 12 hours depending on what kind of environment you're in, but it performs really, really well. So this opens up with a pineapple vibe, but it's not actually pineapple, it's bergamot that's giving off that vibe. I even got that straight from the company themselves. They said that the bergamot that they use is of such high quality that they can have it give off a pineapple smell. So that's what it is. It's just bergamot, there's no pineapple. And that kind of makes it have a similar feel to some of the other Aventus clones or alternatives like L'Aventure by Al Haramain. It even has kind of a little bit of the feel of commodity gin with the bergamot in the top there. It's not the exact same, but when you smell them side by side, you can pick up similarities. So you can definitely tell that it is bergamot. It's done well, it doesn't smell super cheap, and it does come across fairly juicy, if you want to call it that, but it is bergamot. There's birch in this, but it's not really what you would expect. If you haven't smelled this yet, it doesn't come across really smoky. So a lot of people say that Noir is supposed to appeal to people that like smokier batches of Aventus, and normal Pineapple Vintage is for people that like fruitier batches of Aventus. And you're not going to pick up very much of that smoke here. It's more like a nuance that's kind of in the background. Maybe it lends just a tiny bit of that birch feeling, but it's almost indistinguishable. It's not really strong or anything like that. As this dries down, vanilla starts to come out to the forefront, and it's pretty obvious. It's not like a sickly sweet vanilla. It's decently done. It's more on the drier side of vanilla. And then there's also an ambergris accord, but that's also not something that's very strong. Like in a lot of Creed fragrances, you can pick it up immediately and be like, okay, there's the ambergris. You don't really get that here. It kind of just lends a little bit to the composition in the background, much like the birch in the opening. Now, I know everybody says that this is basically an Aventus clone or an Aventus alternative, and I wouldn't even necessarily myself call it an Aventus clone. It's super obvious that they're trying to play off of the popularity of Aventus. Like I said, this is supposed to appeal to people that like smokier batches more. Regular pineapple vintage is supposed to be for people that like fruitier batches more. But really it just kind of centers around that pineapple note. I mean, that's the entire branding that they went with here, pineapple vintage. It's all over the bottle, the box, the fragrance. So that's really what they're trying to do. They're trying to capitalize on that opening. Now, it doesn't smell exactly like the opening of Aventus, but again, you can tell the similarities, you can tell what they're going for. But as it dries down, it separates itself from Aventus there. So this, to me, is more of a standalone fragrance that's trying to capitalize off the popularity of another one. Not exactly a clone. Some people will view it as an alternative, and that's fine. But for me, it's more a standalone fragrance that's just marketing itself toward a more popular niche fragrance. Now, if we're talking unsolicited compliments, this actually did really well. When I wore it to the office, people loved it. When I went and got my haircut at the salon, two of the younger hairstylists in their 20s both asked me what I was wearing. Both said it smelled great. My wife really likes it. So I can't complain about that. It could just be where I've smelled so many things that it just doesn't really blow me away. Like I said, it's good, it's nice, it's just not mind-blowing. But compliment-wise, it knocked it out of the park. So if that's something that you're looking for, then this, it did it for me. I can't really say anything negative about that. When I wore this one, it was cold out, it was freezing, so you can wear this in the cold or the heat because it really doesn't have something that comes across really thick or overpowering that you would stay away from in the summer. It is still mainly just that bergamot pineapple at the top. Like I said, a little bit of birch, but it's not anything overpowering. So you can wear this one pretty much year round. You may just want to taper it back a little bit in the summer because it does project really well at the beginning. To me, this is a day or a night fragrance. For me personally, it leans more toward a day fragrance, and it's something that I would wear more casually. It's not really something that I would dress up. Alright guys, that's my review on Pineapple Vintage Noir. If there's any interest in the original Pineapple Vintage, let me know and I'll go ahead and do a review on that also. Like I said, it's a good fragrance. It doesn't blow me away, but it is good. It does get compliments, so if you're after compliments, this will get that done for you. The main issue is the price. At $105, it's kind of priced itself out, in my opinion, because there are other Aventus alternatives or clones that are half the price of this, and there are lots of Aventus clones that are a third or a fourth the price of this. So if this costs double as much as the other expensive, if you want to call them that, Aventus clones, you would expect it to smell at least, I don't know, 25% better or something like that if you could quantify it. And it really doesn't. Does it smell better than some of those clones? Sure. That opening is better than, you know, Club de Nuit Intense Man, for example. But then the dry down differs because Club de Nuit Intense Man starts to be more like Aventus as it dries down, and this is more like Aventus in the opening and less like it in the dry down. So there are differences, but still yet, it's not something that I can say, yes, this is definitely worth twice as much as X or 3 times as much as X. In my opinion, it's not. But again, that is subjective. So that will ultimately be up to you whether it's worth it. If you are interested in this, I would suggest, like always, sampling first. If you go to their website, which I will link in the description, you can pick up a sample of Noir and the original Pineapple Vintage for a pretty good price, under $10, I believe. So if you're interested, go ahead and sample it first, work your way through that sample, and then if you decide it's something that you really want, go ahead and splurge for a bottle. If you decide it doesn't really blow you away, then you're not out $105. Let me know what you think of this one. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.